Welcome to Thriving at the Beach podcast. I'm Peggy Masterson, and I'm delighted to be your host. I am the director of the Leadership Grand Strand Foundation, and in case you haven't heard about us, we are the nonprofit foundation that is an extension of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. Partnership Grand Strand was created by local businesses to serve local businesses, and we serve everyone across all 14 communities that we often and fondly call the Grand Strand. Our work puts us in a unique situation where we get the opportunity to collaborate and support many of the organizations that are busy building a better tomorrow in our area. This gives us a wonderful opportunity to collect the details surrounding these growth initiatives and then share them with you. That's really why we created this podcast. There's so much amazing work, we just had to find a way to get it out to you. I could not be more excited to be able to facilitate a way for our guests to tell you their stories, to share the initiatives that they're working on, and give you a peek under the tent on what's coming to our community. I hope you'll catch this wave of momentum and then share it with others. So let's dive right in. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on our latest episode of Thriving at the Beach, where you know our primary goal is to get you excited about the future of our area and to get a chance to hear from some of the people that are busy working behind the scenes to power our community's success. And we have a great show planned for you today because we have Shannon Furtick. Am I saying that right?
Yes, ma'am.
With us today. And she is with the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. I think you'll find getting to know her super interesting because Shannon wears many hats at the Chamber of Commerce, and she's going to take us through those and explain those in more detail to us as we move through the podcast. But her current title is Director of Member Engagement here, and she is also the Executive Director of our Leadership Grand Strand program. So you're a busy lady.
I am. I forgot to mention, too, mom of 2 kids, a wife, all of those fun things, too.
Exactly. And I was just going to get to that.
You go. The many hats.
Exactly. Yeah. And we can't underestimate that because those are, as much as we love them, those are jobs as well.
Yes.
They keep us busy. So, So let's kind of spend a minute and get to know you a little bit, Shannon, from what you've shared with me. You are originally from North Carolina. Been here in the Myrtle Beach area for a good while and have worked for the Chamber for 17 years.
Yes.
Wow. You get a little medal and,
right?
some kind of button of some kind, right?
It's the participation award.
And as she mentioned earlier, she is married and has 2 wonderful boys as well as 2 adorable dogs. So between the family and the many hats at work, you are a busy girl. She is also one of those folks, if you've ever met one, that is absolutely crazy for Christmas. Shannon is your gal. She loves all the Hallmark movies and everything that has to do with Christmas. From a sporting perspective, she has played basketball much of her life, and her favorite thing to do is to spend a day at the beach with her family, and who wouldn't love that, right? So as we kind of move forward and learn a little bit more about your role, Shannon, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what it means to be the Director of Member Engagement.
At least the participation award of some sort. So I've actually had the privilege, as you mentioned, of working here at the Chamber for many years, that I've held many different positions within the Business Development Department, which was our membership department. With that particular role is that I have the opportunity with working with over 2,400 businesses here along the Grand Strand, providing them services and benefits of what the Chamber has to offer, whether it be discounts on health care insurance, to our Office Depot, which is just savings when it comes to just products as a whole for your business to succeed. Networking opportunities. I also get to see all the ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings for the area. And I'll tell you, I've probably done within my career at least 800 to 1,000 ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings, which just shows how much our area is thriving and continuously growing, which is wonderful for the Grand Strand as a whole. I, of course, get to talk, and I learned so much about our members and the business community a lot about their personal lives, actually, because with the retention efforts that I do, I want to get to know them and I want to help them to succeed. I also oversee our nonprofit council, and our nonprofit council is really helping to be the advocate for those areas, for the organizations, and making sure that we are providing all that is needed for their mission to be able to be successful along the Grand Strand. We have so many nonprofits. We have over 1,000 nonprofits here along the Grand Strand. Currently have around 140 that are part of the chamber as a whole. But with those, there are so many different services that they all provide, whether it be for our kids, for our seniors, for our animals, to even from food, to helping our homeless and thus forth. So we try to really make sure that we provide all areas of focus for them, whether it be on education opportunities, networking, or just, like I said, being that advocate and lobbying for them for our area. So those are some of the areas.
Yeah, so it's interesting that when we think about members, right, at the chamber, what listening to you reminds me of is that membership is really much broader than just the folks that actually have committed to a membership with the chamber. Yes. In other words, you are working through this nonprofit organization or this council that you have to make sure that all these community-facing organizations get the resources that they need as well. I think that's awesome. And we have 1,000 or so here?
We have over 1,000 nonprofits along the Grand Strand.
Wow.
Now, some of those can vary from you have your Boy Scouts of maybe 6 different ones or 7 different ones, and you also have all the mini churches and community services along those lines. But there's so many that our area provides because we have so many walks of life here in our area. Not many people, I know the newer generation are born and raised here in Horry County, but not many people are actually from our area. A lot of people come from all different parts of the United States and even from overseas. So with that, we want to make sure that we are helping all of them. When it comes, especially for those nonprofits, but this is also for our chamber members, the face-to-face networking opportunities is crucial. That way of word of mouth and being able to talk and get to know what the products and services are that business is providing, that's how we're able to help and make them successful. We've had members to join our chamber maybe within a year time frame, and the first couple of months, they don't come to anything. They're like, okay, well, you're not giving us anything. What are y'all even doing for us? But, we always have to say, I hate to use the analogy, but it is like that gym membership. What you put in is what you get out. So when they start coming to things, getting that little sticker decal, even just showing they're a chamber member on their window, it does help to bring people within to their business and have just all different types of businesses that we can help and provide for. So the chamber, I did not know what a chamber was when I first started working here many years ago. I learned so much about the chamber daily, and that's why I do enjoy getting to know our members personally, just because if I know a little bit more about their story, I'm going to know a little bit better of how to help them and how to make them successful, because we do have about 84% of our businesses that are members of the chamber are actually small businesses, and so that's like 50 employees or less. So when you think about that, those are the ones that, each year may be a little bit harder than the other years. There some, they barely survived from COVID, but due to our efforts and the sources and the services that we provide, that's helped them to continuously be sustainable.
And I love the way you describe the fact that you really want to get to know these folks personally. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important, because what we're really building here is a community. Yeah. And community starts with folks talking to one another, being able to connect with one another, and to know that the chamber has kind of open arms to be able to not only welcome folks, but to also support them and care enough to get to know them. I think that's awesome. And I know in your role, you also do a little bit of, in the light of support for small businesses or for members, you also do some education through the Chamber Academy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so from our education aspect, we'll provide, whether it be based on grant writing, which of course that's crucial for our nonprofits, insurance practices, you got to have it, whether you want it or not. Leadership topics. We even just recently had a leadership training based around basketball. So I thought that was really cool.
Right up your alley,
It was right up my alley. It's the triple threat. And that was really interesting. We even had just couponing. How do you even coupon to save a few dollars? As a mom and a wife, any dollar you can save it's huge. So we're trying to make sure that we're providing those sources and resources for our community. Now, we do reach out to our chamber members to find out exactly what it is that you want, because there are topics that I had never heard of, and these are the areas of focus that they want. We've even had from even just like physical therapy, how to actually stay in shape and feel mentally better about yourself. So who would have thought, maybe a chamber as a whole to be able to provide those type of education opportunities. So that is where we always look to our members to help with that, as well as our members who, in their forte, they're the ones that are actually presenting these education classes. So we have anywhere between 1 to 2 education classes a week. And I know our young professionals group, they do a really phenomenal job also with partnering with Partnership Grand Strand on different ways, whether it be of advocacy to just growing their business and surviving on a day-to-day basis. So we have a lot to offer.
As you can see, there's a lot going on here at the Chamber. The one thing I learned is, because I'm fairly new here with the Chamber as well, and one thing that I didn't realize that I want you to elaborate on for our listeners is these Chamber programs that you've just mentioned that are kind of steadily available are not just for Chamber members. Can you talk to that a little bit? I think sometimes folks feel like, well, I didn't join the Chamber, so I really can't go to that, even though I think I might be interested. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So when it comes to the membership, most of our opportunities are based around our members. Now, when it comes to, there are educational opportunities that we'll have open to the public, and I'll talk a little bit more even about that, of like our Walk 'em On Nonprofit Summit that I actually partner with a few of our foundations here in the area, and those are for any and all nonprofits here in our community. They don't have to be members to attend that. And there's leadership training from there. We also have different events that are more based around the public, like our nonprofit expos. So we have 2 expos a year. And that is actually encouraging our public to come out, get to know these organizations, see what their services are, see what their mission is, and then maybe in return actually sign up to volunteer, or maybe they want to give a monetarily donation to these nonprofits. So those are some ways that we are providing that, but we're also the voice of the Grand Strand. So we advocate for the area. So we do are fortunate enough to have a person who's in our governmental affairs area, and he actually helps when it comes to that communication, and his door is always open. So those are some of the ways that we always help our community. But of course, we're also helping when it comes to the hospitality side. The Chamber has the DOM within our organization that provides all of the marketing for Visit Myrtle Beach. So there are so many angles that we could that we do for the community as a whole. Because our area, of course, continuously thrives off of hospitality, even though we have our business community is more of your smaller based businesses that are non-hospitality. But we wouldn't be able to be as successful as we are if it wasn't for those tourists that are coming here to our area and spending their dollars daily.
Yes. We love our tourists,
yes,
and we
do.
can not like them at the same time.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we absolutely we need them to be here to be able to accomplish some of the growth that we have planned.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And anybody that's listening, if you haven't checked out the Chamber, I would surely recommend that you do that, because not only will you get plugged into the community, but you'll also get a lot of great benefits that Shannon and her team are building for you.
And one of the things that I didn't mention, but with your Chamber membership, the business as a whole, once they join, every one of their employees are considered a member of the Chamber. So let's say you have 100, employees. All 100 of them can come to all the education classes, networking, take advantage of some of those savings and thus forth. So that is crucial because it's such a minimal amount of money for so many people within your organization to take advantage of what we have to offer.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. That's a great point.
Yeah.
So there's really no reason not to join, is the way I think about it.
Yeah, I love it.
So let's talk a little bit about the other hat that you wear here that is so important in my mind. And we, as Partnership Grand Strand, tend to interact a little more often with your role as the executive director of Leadership Grand Strand. And for folks that may not have heard about that, can you tell us a little bit about it? And then we can dig in a little deeper as to kind of some of the things they're working on.
Sure. So Leadership Grand Strand is a 10-month program. There's a tuition associated with it, but we actually have several applicants. We unfortunately aren't even able to accept all the applicants every single year. But the class, right now we're at class 45, and these members of the class, they actually come together. We put together a wonderful program throughout those 10 months of different ways to get involved within the community, but also learn more about the behind the scenes of what the Grand Strand has to offer. So they're getting the chance to speak to some of the people, the decision makers here along the community. We just recently had our class at the Waste Authority as well as our Coastal Carolina University, and we had the president of the university to speak to them and answer questions that most people don't have that type of opportunity.
Sure,
we also
access, right?
Yeah. We also will be meeting with Horry County Schools, so we'll learn more about the school system and all that they do. I always am excited about that day as a mom with children within the school system. But these particular leaders are put together. They're all professionals that they want to enhance their leadership skills. So by enhancing those leadership skills, they are committing their time. They meet. We meet once a month, but they are required to actually do 75 volunteer hours. So whether it be, community service within the personal hours setting, so kind of on your own, you choose. We have a legacy project with Ability Beyond Barriers, which is helping some of the people with special needs here in our community and helping provide more of a better facility for them and have the opportunities for them with their buddy system to be able to play and work outside more versus just being stuck inside their building. We work with the Downtown Alliance and help with building and growing the Myrtle Beach downtown area. And then we also have a MBACC presentation, and that particular group honors an alumni from Leadership Grand Strand who is making a difference here in our community, and they get to know some of the different alumni throughout the few months that they work on this project. So those are just a few of the examples of Leadership Grand Strand, but one of the main aspects, of course, is that continuing education that you gain, because we do have two leadership trainers. They're a husband and wife team, Dr. Dan and Dr. Heather Hoppy, and they come together and they put together a leadership program, whether it be based on this year, we're working more on the self-profile analysis to learn more about your personality styles and how to work better within your group and your team, as well as even at home, maybe with your spouse and your family.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. They'll also be working on more ways to help when it comes to just how to communicate with one another and how to actually feel better about themselves. So, we all get so worked up about what we're doing wrong, but what do we need to focus more on all the positive sides that we're doing. So they have been a great addition to the program. They are new to our Leadership Grand Strand program, as well as I'm the new executive director. I recently took that position on about 5 months ago. But I had the opportunity to go through Leadership Grand Strand many years ago. I was class 31, and as mentioned, we're in class 45. But just to see the growth and to see the Grand Strand and the behind the scenes, Leadership Grand Strand is such a phenomenal program, and I'm just honored to be a part of it on a daily basis and getting to know these future leaders in the area. And we have a wide variety. So we have from starting early 20s all the way up into the 70s. So when it comes to the mentors and mentees that you have with this program, it's remarkable.
So you mentioned that folks apply to be part of Leadership Grand Strand. What kind of things are you looking for when an application comes across your desk?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things, and this is something that, because this particular program is ran by a board of regents that I have to report to, but first of all, follow the directions. If we state, fill out just this application, we don't need supporting documents. We do need 3 referral letters. And those referral letters are based around, one can come from your employer, one can be maybe an alumni, and then another can come from whether it's a friend or a family member or just someone that is making an impact in our community. So those are top crucial. Read those instructions. But we are looking at, what do you feel a leadership program should contain, and how do you feel you're impacting with your leadership skills, as well as what are you doing to volunteer and support your community. There were a few of our class members that are in this class that within their application, they weren't volunteering much, but the way that they described leadership as a whole we just had that feeling that, you know what, they're going to make some type of impact, and maybe they just haven't been given the right direction as to actually how to become a leader. They just needed that guidance. And which I'll tell you right now, this class we've only been in class since August. We're only about 2.5 months in. The class combined has put in over 350 plus hours of volunteer hours. So those are ways that we saw that, okay, these people are going to make a difference and they want to get involved, but sometimes you just need that little nudge or just a direction as to where to go and how do I help.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really interesting when I hear you describe Leadership Grand Strand as that blend between personal development, professional development, and community service. Where does that come from? Like, how does the community service side of things play into leadership in your mind?
So community service, I mean, to become a true leader within your area, you need to know where you live, where you actually walk the streets daily.
That's a good point. Yep.
So with you giving back to the actual place that you live, you sleep, you raise your family, you do everything, you work there. That's the only way that this area is going to continuously thrive. I have learned more about the Grand Strand over the past few years probably than I have within the 24, 25 years that I've actually lived here, just because you get to see where impacts that are being made that you may not have known about in the smaller areas along the Grand Strand, or even certain community leaders are helping us and guiding us to make sure that we are providing those opportunities. Just yesterday, several of the class members, they were able to be a part of a golf tournament for Make-A-Wish Foundation. I wasn't even aware that they come here to the Myrtle Beach area. So those are things that they're doing, as well as they're helping with different buildings. So they're helping even build a house right now with Habitat for Humanity, which is for a family that is in need and is not able to actually purchase a house on their own. So they're getting to that, as well as work in some of our food banks and distribute food out to whether it be our homeless or just those in need. So if you can't give back to your community in those type of ways, then you really don't even know where you're living, because these are ways to truly get involved. And I've always been the one that I don't come from much when it comes from money-wise per se, but I always am willing to give you my time, because that is something that I have and I am able to do. So that's where we really try to encourage those future leaders to do and to give back and in the ways that they're able to.
And I think you make a great point in that, you can't lead if you don't understand everything. And this notion of giving your time, the old adage is it's the most valuable thing anybody can ever give you, right? Because you can't get any more of it. And when we make a conscious decision to devote some of that precious time towards our community, towards helping others, it just strengthens the overall environment and the overall community in which we live. So I also know from having met several folks from Leadership Grand Strand over the years, you said it's the 45th class. So that means there's been 45 years of
45
this program?
years of anywhere between 20 to 30 or in our case, our biggest class this year is 34. So you think about it, it's over 1,000 alumni that have given to our community as a whole. And I mean, whether it had been 50 to even 100 volunteer hours, each one of those class members had to do that to be able to graduate from the program.
Well, and what I've also noticed is there is a camaraderie that exists in that alumni that it's priceless. It is becoming part of the fabric of this community. I mean, I can't tell you, I don't even think I can count the number of folks that I've met that, so-and-so was in my Leadership Grand Strand class, or I know them from the class. So I think that what you're doing and what you're leading with that particular initiative is amazing. And we thank you for your stepping up in your new role and taking that on and keeping that legacy, alive and well.
Well, thank you.
Moving forward.
It's a blast. I will say I have learned something daily. You always get those takeaways, and you learn so much from others, and especially all the different personalities that we have and the different businesses and industries that are being represented. I can't be more grateful for this opportunity.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears just a little bit and talk about how your roles, your many hats, as it relates to at least your role at the chamber. We know you're making a great contribution to your family and your children and your furry friends and all those things. But what I want to try to touch on is, how do these programs that you are managing, in your opinion, how are they strengthening our community for future growth?
I will say the chamber, we'll start even with the chamber. The chamber, we can't be successful if we don't have business, members a part of the chamber. So helping them and guiding them, whether it be even helping them put together their strategic planning, that's something that we help with. Whether it's helping them when it comes to budgeting 101, because it's amazing how many businesses and organizations that don't know how to do just a basic budget. So with those areas of focus, that's how we can, of course, help and strengthen. Of course, we're always, like I mentioned, the advocacy aspect of the infrastructure for our community. That's continuously growing, with Horry County being the number one growing county in America right now. So we have to keep, the economy successful. But with that, we need our business community. So the chamber just makes that impact daily. It could be small, of just communications of, how to promote your business, or let us know as to maybe you have an event or something you have going on that you need that information getting out there. So that's how we can help them with thriving and making sure that they have people to walk through their doors, or just showing a little picture on social media of that business and being able to promote them in such a small, but yet in their mind, a big way. So those are just some ways that, of course, that we help with the thriving of the community as a whole. Every day is different, as we all know, and every business and different leaders are different. So we got to work with them and see what's going to be their best fit and what's going to fit their personality and their needs. So that is one thing that I try to do more of, that small little interview process with every one of our businesses to get to know just a couple key facts. So then from there, we can actually team up and work together to be able to plan and make an actual, plan to set forth and truly to strive within the community as a whole.
Love that. And then, we know that you're building future leaders, right, through Leadership Grand Strand. Do you have any kind of individuals that cross your mind that have been through the program that are currently in leadership roles here in the Grand Strand? So
we have had so many people to come through Leadership Grand Strand that are now CEOs, executive directors, retired at the age of 50, just because of the fact that they've been so successful within their careers. One person that comes to mind, and which maybe because I'm a little biased, but is a coworker, Pam Wright, our sales manager. She went through Leadership Grand Strand about 10 years ago, and she was already, of course, volunteering 24/7, but she learned through Leadership Grand Strand more ways to get involved, as well as helping more with, she's big within her church, as well as with our J1 students that come to the area. And then also she loves arts and crafts. So she helps with making those arts and crafts with different individuals that may not have that, means to be able to do that small of an opportunity or just an activity of some sort. So Pam she's our sales manager, but she is the true rock star. We also have some, and I don't want to name too many names, but we have some that, started here at the chamber as just an employee, and then they went through Leadership Grand Strand, and from there they saw more opportunities within the area and were able to take on different roles more into our nonprofit realms, as well as even some of becoming the CEOs of the company and working and providing for over 80 to 90 nonprofits and grants and thus forth. So there are so many people that come through my head right now, but I definitely would love to highlight even Diana Green, who was the previous executive director, just trying to fill her shoes and making sure that we're providing all that we need. Diana was with the chamber for 20 plus years, as well as the executive director for Leadership Grand Strand for almost 20 years. And she helped and strengthened that program to really guide those many leaders to their now new current and career roles. So Leadership Grand Strand has provided for so much. And one of the things that stood out, I spoke at our board of directors meeting, or the Chamber's board of directors meeting a couple months ago, and just gave a little update about Leadership Grand Strand. And our previous chair for the chamber, he said, wait a second. all right, I need a show of hands as to how many people are alumni within Leadership Grand Strand. And about 3/4 of the room was actually alumni from Leadership Grand Strand.
Wow.
I got a little teary-eyed. I was like, wow, okay, this is making a difference.
Talk about impact, yeah.
Yes, and that's what we're doing. We're wanting these future leaders to be the voice of our community. So we're doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'd be remiss not to mention our PGS BJ Beaver, who is also a alumni and has really demonstrated to me as a fairly new person in the market how well that program connected him and linked him to other folks that are strategic partners for us today. So.
And not to mention the friendships they've gained. Just as you mentioned, BJ. So BJ became one of his best friends now. His name is Andrew, and he's our current treasurer for Leadership Grand Strand. And both of them said, we probably wouldn't have ever met if it wasn't for this program. And that happens a lot because you do meet so many different people, and you just be able to, that bond is kind of like, your high school or your college, those bonds that you gain, those memories you can never replace.
Yeah. You grow together, I guess, over that 10 months. 10 months is a long time.
10 months is a long time. It's longer than a maternity.
That's one way to think about it. Yeah. So as we kind of wrap things up, Shannon, I'm interested from your, tenure in the area. In other words, you've been here a good long while. You've seen a lot of things kind of change and evolve in the time that you've been here over 17 years. I'm curious what your perspective is on what the future holds for Myrtle Beach. How do you feel about it? What kind of things energize you and so forth?
So to see the amount of changes, because there are changes that are honestly daily, but even hourly here in our area. One of the biggest things that has really helped and evolved within our organization, especially for our younger generation, is AI. So that's really helpful when it comes to the communication aspect, and even just helping when it comes to employee retention, because it's eliminating some of the tools that you and I may have had to try to figure out just 10 years ago, that they're able just to type that in and get the answer right then, quick and, ready to send it on out.
Instant access to information.
It is. But for the growth for the area, honestly, our area is thriving so much. I pray that we continue to be able to remember, what our backyard is, and that is the ocean, and learning so much about at the Waste Authority of how much of we need to recycle and the trash and everything. Those are things that us as leaders that we need to make sure that we're starting to take a part of and do, because we have to make those contributions to ensure that our area is continuously going to be successful. And
protected.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. The prosperity for our area is based around all of us. But when it comes to Myrtle Beach as a whole, with having so many different individuals that come to our area, whether it be for college or even moving here with their families, just bring in those different cultures and demographics for our area. I think that's going to help and continuously make us to move a lot further in the future than maybe other areas, just because we are working with so many different demographics. I will say, as a mom, I just hope that we can gain a little bit more when it comes to our school systems, having some more schools, because they're so crowded right now.
Yeah, it's growing so fast.
It's growing so fast, and I don't think our schools even realized how much it was going to be growing in our area, to the roads and infrastructure as a whole. But the track that we're on, I mean, honestly, nothing can stop Myrtle Beach. And I'm just so blessed to be able to live here. I've moved here about 25 years ago, and to see the things that have taken place, from even just some of the roads that we have from 31 and 22, and that has helped tremendously. But those are areas probably that we need to make sure that we are continuously protecting, and like you mentioned, and caring for, and continuously doing our part where it needs to be.
I love that. There's no stop in Myrtle Beach.
There's no, because, Myrtle Beach, we're just so blessed. We have so many. We have the retirees, and then we have this new younger generation. I mean, my children, they're 8 and 10, and I'll tell you right now, they can do anything and everything on my phone. I'm like, wait a second, show me this again. Or even just their PlayStation. I'm like, how do you even turn this on? But the electronics and how that's even helping us. And then just the arts community that we have, we're really emphasizing the arts right now in the Myrtle Beach area. And I'm excited because my oldest is huge within the arts. He's in chorus. He plays the steel drums. He loves to do the theater and drama. So just bringing those different elements really does help and make this area continuously thrive.
Yeah, and welcoming to all. I think tourism kind of taught us that, right? To be welcoming to anyone. We're the friendly beach. We're the vacation destination where everybody fits in, right? And to carry that over into our business community and to the folks that choose to live here and raise their families, I think makes for a really kind of comfortable environment for everyone to fit into easily and be their best self, I guess, for lack of a better way to explain it. So you're right. We are blessed, and we can't forget that. And we are blessed here at the Chamber to have you leading the member engagement as well as Leadership Grand Strand. And I thank you so much for joining us here today. I hope that you'll come back often and update us on things that you're working on, or anything that you feel like you want folks to continue to be aware of that is fueling our future growth. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you learned as much as I did about the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. It's interesting to learn about the work that they are doing, not only for their 2,400 members of the Chamber, but also for our entire community. Sometimes I think it's easy to overlook the value and the support that's available in your local Chamber of Commerce. So I encourage you to go check one out and get involved. The Leadership Grand Strand program that we heard about today is also developing tomorrow's leaders. So perhaps you can be one too. For this episode, and until then, stay well and keep thriving. Well, that wraps up our show for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the info that we've shared today. And if so, please be sure to follow the show so you don't miss any of our future updates. We also welcome any comments, shares, or reviews. But until next time, we hope you stay well and keep thriving.